we're gonna use it's gonna be a space scene, and you might recognize it because I'm gonna do that same rocket that I just drew for you before, and we're gonna put it into a moonscape scene. So uh, I'm switching over to a colored pencil, just a standard Prismacolor colored pencil in the pink tones. And first off, I'm going to establish I think I went just a little bit, yeah. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit of a background here, and this is the moon surface. And I've had the benefit of looking at so many photos of moon landings that I've got a pretty good idea of the shapes. The hills are typically rounded, and it's unusual that the horizon is so close that you don't get a lot of atmospheric perspective like you would on Earth. Obviously, the mountains that are further away are actually pretty close to you because it's just rounding a lot quicker than it would on Earth. It's tiny. I'm a rule of thirds guy when it comes to composition. It's a little bit of like it's my fallback, if you will. I don't do the Wes Anderson straight on bit as much. Yes, I can fake this from memory. And yes, so we're gonna put it right about here and have the base of it right about there. And let's see. I am gonna go ahead and cheat though and grab my little template so I've got a straight line because there we go. Yes, happy little mountains. Happy little moon mountains. Yes, indeed. I don't often go with technical drawing tools, but you know, this is gonna be helpful. So let me go ahead and establish our bit over here. So we're gonna do this rocket. It has just landed on the moon. Well, not so much there. There we go. And it's got its little side thrusters here. Out, and I'm doing the same thing I did when I did the drawing, which is establishing the shape so that when I come in here and give it the contours, my left and right will be symmetrical. So fun. Okay, so that's going to be a little detailed there. And now we're going to add the wings. Get that side. There we go. Do the same over here. Let's see, up there. Transfer that there. I'm noticing I did the same mistake I did before, which is this this right side motor is thicker than this one. I'll have to correct that in paint. We'll do that. We'll correct that in post. We'll edit that out later. Just pretend you didn't see it. And there's actually a third one of these off in the back, so I'm just going to kind of put it in, foreshorten it a little bit. So in theory, there would be 3 of these dudes here. There we go. So I'm going to put it in here. About, let's see. Again, rule of thirds. I'm picking this third of the side, roughly a little bit more up top, and we're just going to drop in shape there, plus a little bit of a wider one, because this isn't going to just be the Earth sitting up here. We're going to do something fun. All right. And today, instead of casein, we will be using a selection of acrylic paint by Liquitex. And again, they have not paid for any sponsorship on the stream. I'm not getting paid to recommend these. This just happens to be the acrylic paint that I use. And today we're going to be using a couple of different ones. I've got some burnt umber, titanium white, Mars black, got some cadmium red, and cadmium yellow medium. Oh, and ultramarine blue for my blues here. Yes, indeed, the favorites. They've stuck by me. Oh, and then the other one, the actual background, it's actually, I started with Mars black that I just put out, but it was so shiny that the light was just, it was killing me when I put it down on my board here with the lights. So I've got this by Stuart Semple. This is Black 2.0, and it's in their line of trying to make the blackest paints they possibly can without having you buy Vanta Black, which is incredibly a scam. I agree with them. Black 2.0 is it is extremely black, but it's also fairly matte. So it's actually like doing a flat black, and it's handled the light pretty well. I'll actually dry up. Okay. So now the painting itself is actually going to be kind of fun. The light source is, we're kind of facing the light source, and so what we're going to end up with are highlights across these mountaintops here. And yeah, it's a little thin. That's okay. So, and I'm just trying to dance in some shapes, maybe that the light catching it will be. And I'm doing it in white to start because when I go over this later, we're going to have some really nice oranges and reds from the eclipse that's occurring right above us. And to do that, I just want to brighten up this black a little bit. So give these some fields of white here, and this will, when this dries, actually it'll be, there we go, white brush here. All right. So we're just going to kind of take this and get some, I really just kind of wanted a muddy orange for the back sides of these mountains, which is kind of what I ended up with. So yay, there we go. And same down here. And it doesn't bug me at all if I end up getting some of that white covered, because we're going to cover it anyway. Whoop. And I'm not really too worried about going over the lines on this, because I'm just going to come over it with it later anyway and fill in some of these spaces. Oh, got it there. There we go. There's a little bit of a ledge over our crater. There we go. You know, I completely forgot to render in my astronauts. There we go. We're going to lose them. We're going to get painted over by the shadow of the sun and the earth. Yeah, I'll just give them a little space here so I can come in and do that later. There we go. We're good. Okay, so now we're kind of starting to get, now we're kind of starting to see a little bit of action, a little bit of moon action here. And I'm not going to do too much. I just want to indicate a backpack and a shoulder and a head. They're pretty small. Get some characters in here. There we go. Pretty funny. See, that's what Streamlabs gets for being so recalcitrant. Thank you for not using oils. I heard you're not using oils. Oh, not using the right oils. Yeah, not using oils this time at all. However, I do have piles of them. I actually haven't painted an oil in a while. Everything's either been digital or acrylic or casein recently. But I have some pieces in place that I really would like to bring some oils out in. There we are. So the light coming off of our eclipse, which I need to get that in here next too, so you can kind of see what I'm doing. It's kind of going to be in the reddish orangish category, and to reflect that, I wanted to add a little bit more of a redder tone here. There we go. Get some of that in. So as you can see, I'm really losing. Again, against the black, a lot of this paint will lose some of its it won't be as it's transparent paint, so you're gonna catch some of the black through no matter what. All right, by the burnt umber, and since I kind of want to go into the eclipse part of things, I wanted a brighter color to it. The eclipse is going to be not only lighter. I'm going to turn this upside down, but also it'll probably have the sharpest color of most things. I just want to get a nice hint here of there. Just want to get a nice hint of this reddish orange on the whites that were there. And I'm not really too worried about going inside the lines on this because the center of this will get painted black anyway. And that's perfectly fine. You know, I did not mix up enough. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. There we are. So the cool thing about, since I put that ring of white down here, it's going to carry this color over pretty well. As I paint out away from this, and I want to kind of indicate these feathers of light in the sun's corona. Cat hair. They're coming out in a way. This will look great while the paint is reasonably wet, but the minute it starts to dry against this black, we're going to lose a lot of this. So here we go. Just letting it feather out, letting it catch the texture of the canvas a little bit, which is great because this will read at a difference. Blackbird Ross, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll retool the name Blackbird Ross. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I keep putting Bob Ross in the description, hoping someone's actually gonna, catch it randomly. So it's like, dirty little tricks to catch new followers and new viewers. I'm not opposed to it. Pirating his name. Although there's a really great channel that's running 24/7 Bob Ross episodes, which is just really fantastic. I still dig that. If any lunar missions have been able to train a camera back at the Earth during an eclipse. I mean, they happen. They happen frequently as ours do, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know if we've ever actually had photos of them, which is a little unfortunate. I'm hoping that if we get a few more lunar rovers going, that we would have a chance to see what that view would be like. It may not be as exciting because the Earth actually is going to block quite a lot more of the sun than what the moon does, at least at this distance. But we can pretend, since we're painting this. This is our reality. There we go. And I'm just going to dot in some bits of the sun here. And right now, I'm just going straight on with the cadmium yellow, just over what we just painted here, just to kind of give it some brightness. And we'll come back to this after these two dry to see what, if I need to add more to it. There we go. These filaments, these tendrils of light and color. Okay. So now I'm going back over my white that I had left on the tops of these mountains because leaving it white would be kind of lame. So I'm going to add, I've established that this yellow-orange, this yellow-red combo is kind of what we're looking at here. It's casting the light. So all of this, I'm just going to take advantage of the fact that it is white and helping me brighten up my page here a little bit. And I'm going to get the white down. There we go. So all the tops of these mountain ranges here are going to get this nice soft yellow glow. I'm going to redden that up just a little bit. It's funny, what I'm seeing and what the camera sees is just a little different. It's pretty amusing. I did kind of want to go for sort of a fiery landscape, so I think I'm on the way here. I'm not gonna panic about this by any means. Oh, a little too red. There we go. There we go. We will not panic. We're all in this together. We will get this. We will get this lunar landscape painted. All right. So Got that. I think we are going ahead and we're going to go with this as our dark. And I still have a little bit of my sort of mauve color in there, which is really good. Well, a little too wet. There we go. There we go. I kind of don't want it to be just straight black in there, so let's get that. And let's get this guy in here a little bit more. Feather that out a little bit, give that a little bit of that. There we go. I think I need to lighten this one up a bit more. Yeah. This just kind of has ended up looking like just a big gulf of blah. So I'm going to lighten that whole thing up. There we go. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do with those. Not quite as dark. So, yeah. Looks a little bit more like rolling hills. Yeah, kind of digging that. And I'm going to kind of come in here, and we're going to work the rocket a little bit. Maybe the dudes, while I'm letting everything else kind of dry on there. So for the rocket, I need a little bit of a nice blue. This is a little heavy-handed in terms of doing a chrome, but mixing a little bit of this Ultramarine Blue here, a little bit of titanium white. Ultramarine Blue is it's kind of a purple shifted blue. Really handy, just not only for mixing, but since we're kind of in the oranges right here, it's a good blue to work. If I went to a phthalo blue, that would be a little weird because phthalo blue is a little green shifted. I'm actually having a good time. All right, so our rocket here is a nice, chromed steel beast. So I'm kind of going to get some of this in. Blue's a little heavy-handed, but look, it's back again. He's a survivor, the bastard. Oh my god, it's going to make me crazy. I want to get some. Perfect. Now that worked. I can see that already. Okay. So, yes, what was I saying? Blue. It's a little heavy-handed to go this blue. When you're trying to render a chrome object, the cliche is you're going to render the sky on top, which of course is blue, and then a ground tone on the bottom. Breaking Fitt's law it was. Alrighty. So I've got some blue tones in on this rocket, which I'm enjoying so far. Need a little bit on the other side here. Oops, a little too wet. All right, here we go. I wanted just a hint of this. I kind of wanted. There we go. Just a little bit on this side. Let it gray out just a little bit. All right. I want to kind of ease in some details that I might have missed in here. So this wing is right along in there. I just want a hint of my darker color to go in there. Throw that in there. Okay, very cool. And the other side of this rocket, I want to define this a bit more. Same with this side over here. So now I'm seeing all the little gaps from when I used the large brush earlier on my foreground. So I'm kind of going to come in and tighten up this side here on the base there. Try to tighten up my shadow a little bit. Grabbing my dark brown, and I'm going to fill this in for our shadows here. There we go. And I'm just putting it straight over what we had. There we go. Letting it play with the edges a little bit. like that streak I was kind of getting before. Didn't get it there. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot better than the than just leaving the black as the shadows. There we go. Want to yellow up the highlight along the edge of this rocket there. There we go. Since I never quite did that. I've really gone for a real tiny brush here. Oh, that's wet. That's wet. That's wet. Don't know where I can put my hands. Okay. There we go. Everything's wet. I'll go this way. And then he puts blue right in the middle of the painting. Brilliant. This is professional painting, where we get paint all over the place because I left it on my hands and turned the painting over. There we go. Boom. This highlight side would always be a little bit... I never really intended to leave this white, I just forgot to paint it when I was doing all the yellows before, so here we go. But because the acrylic is semi-transparent, it goes right over the white nicely. Honestly, I can't even tell you the last time I painted or drew a moon rocket from this era. So this is definitely a little bit of a stretch. There we go. But I can actually, with a small enough brush, you can kind of get in and do some fun things. But just kind of get in a little bit of. I want to do a highlight color in my white and yellow. There's always little bits of. There we go. These are the parts where maybe there's panel lines coming together on this rocket, and on this left side, I'm going to make this. There we go. Make these things occur in this, or make these exist in this sort of lighter yellow tone. And I'll do the same kind of detail afterwards, but with the blue tones, since it's all going to be stuff in shadows. This gets a little fiddly. There we go. But actually, now that I'm thinking about this, and now that I'm doing this, the Destination Moon rocket had just this round window, one round window in the top, and I thought that was just hilarious. It's like, well, only one person can look at it at any point in time, so we're going to put that up there. And I'm actually going to put down across the bottom, you would imagine you would have some lights for your moonwalkers to work off of, so we'll get a few in there. There we go. Oops. Their legs, feet, backpacks. They're so small. There's just not really too much to them. So, just adding a little bit of this color to them. There we go. And actually, got a little bit of this color too to sort of break this up a little bit. They wouldn't necessarily all be black behind in the shadow zones behind them, because all of this light that's sort of this off orange muddy color would be lighting up their suits behind them. There we go. Just getting a little bit of that. There we are. Why did I get some? Oh, there we go. always a little too thin or too thick. This is the standard rule of all paints. There we go. A little bit lighter. Should be able to get some chase a little bit of line there. And since these are giant wings, why wouldn't they have like ailerons? So we'll give them ailerons. There we go. And this is pretty heavy-handed. I actually think I should be doing a darker blue than that. There we go. A little too dark. There we go. Just going to get a little panel here, right in the middle. And some hints at some detail. I didn't quite define the bottom of this one so much. I'm just trying to bring that in. I want to take a moment and kind of break up some of this ground plane with some. The lunar surface is always kind of pitted, so I'm grabbing some of my other colors here. I kind of want to get in and just sort of dab a little bit of this in. It's always a bit pitted. There's rocks and stuff everywhere. Right now it's just kind of reading as flat, so I want to get some of this. There we go. Oops. I'm doing this with the darker color that I mixed up earlier. Especially as we get closer to the foreground here, there'd always be little rocks, pebbles, boulders. There we go. Some shadows in there. We're gonna go ahead and grab a lighter color. A little bit of white. There we go. And let's just see how this goes. I want to add little bits of. I'm kind of just trying to paint in the rocks. That's kind of working. Oops, went on the wrong side. There we go. And I'm just going off of the shadows that I put on here, as if these are other rocks and bits. And since this is all in the foreground, there would be more detail here. It doesn't disappear into the distance on the moon because of atmospheric perspective, but you just do kind of lose it because of, you know, just smaller pixels, if you will, the further out you go. This is a paint that's really starting to dry out, so yeah. I was hoping to get some streak effects here to this one, break this up a little bit. When the acrylic gets a little muddy, it's just like trying to paint with gum. It gets really annoying. Too much. And this one would be down over here. Presumably there'd be one on the other side there. Let's see if I can get a streak. A little too much. Little too much. There we go. Yeah, I kind of made it look like it had fangs. That's okay. We'll just deal with it. Okay, I want to do bits up here. Going back in to add some white. That'll help call some attention to the eclipse. Yes, I am completely ADHD when it comes to these paintings too, because I'm always all over the place. There we go. There's a little bit of there. Look at that. All right, I'm almost to the point where the cheap, easy way to do stars is to basically grab your brush with a watered down white and give it a bit of a flick. But I always have to test it first. There we go. So then you get some stars. Unfortunately, it's incredibly random. So you kind of don't know what you're going to get. And in theory, I should be like covering up the parts I don't want stars on them. These stars upon ours. But we might end up with some stars anyway. That is sort of my favorite part, is doing the stars. There we go. Awesome. I'll put that right in the corner over here. There we go. I'm going to call this as the official moon with Earth eclipsing the sun with the moon rocket. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Also, catch my weekly stream over on Twitch every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Thank you.